On the last episode of WildChild, we sailed through the night. It's morning now, and we're approaching Cape Hattaras. The ocean is beautifully calm as the sun rises. We had a good night passage. There's a gentle 4-foot ocean swell, but it has like a 10-second dominant wave period. I am calm at the helm as I bask in the serenity of the sunrise, but I'm also apprehensive about what lay ahead. Good morning, look at this. Perfectly calm sailing conditions, running winds, 8 knots, and this 50-foot catamaran has been motoring all night long because, as a middle-aged baby boomer who probably owns it, too much work to put up the sails. Why buy a sailboat if you're not going to sail? Old people, what are you going to do with them? I just saw my first dolphin. There. This is a bucket list thing for me. I'm so excited. Dolphins! First dolphin sighting, and I think I got it on camera. We spent most of the morning sailing along on deck, looking for dolphins and enjoying the dolphin shows. The ocean was calm as forecast. Hallelujah for a good forecast. So we are in a good position to round Cape Hattaras. So here's the thing about sailing into the unknown. I always ask other sailors for advice, but I've since learned, don't always believe the hype. Before long, we found ourselves sailing in a fleet of sailboats. We were the only ones sailing, of course. They were all motoring. So eventually they passed us and left us in their dust. But conditions were still calm. With 8 knots of wind, we're still moving at 3.5 knots. So we figure there's no rush. We will round Cape Hattaras in daylight hours on a calm ocean.
So today's Saturday, November 17. We sail all night, beautiful sail. We're running on beam wind, run wind, so perfect wind, perfect condition. The moon was there. There was 9 sailboats around us. They were far. What I don't get is perfect sailing night, and people were under engine anyway. And this morning it's 10 after 8. Oh, dolphin! This is the first time we see in reality dolphin from far close. They're eating. It's having breakfast, I think. So it's very exciting, and the sun is there, so it will be a warm day.
So we were sailing along in calm conditions, and it was around noon that we began to make our approach to Cape Hattaras.
We're approaching Cape Hattaras, and when you don't choose the right window to cross that part, can be pretty scary and not comfortable, basically. But with the wind we have
So I'm going to bring in some
great
diagrams to show you the decision that I had made to cross inside between Diamond Shoal and the shore.
You will
on the advice
not
of
very
another
pleasant,
sailor.
Sail.
So if you remember last episode, I explained to you that what makes Cape Hattaras special is the warm Gulf Stream current is moving north and colliding with the cold North Atlantic currents going south. So the current of the Gulf Stream is a lot like a fast-flowing river in the ocean. But the location of the Gulf Stream varies as it wobbles closer to shore and further from shore, and it comes closest to shore off the tip of Cape Hattaras. The question is, today, how close is the Gulf Stream to the point of Cape Hattaras? We really don't want to get caught fighting the currents, so we don't want to go too far out. There is an outside shipping mark, but it is definitely in the Gulf Stream. We had been advised by another sailor that we could actually cut inside between the point and the outer diamond shoal. As long as we stayed 2 to 3 miles offshore, in between the outer diamond shoal and the cape, the water should be 20 or 25 feet deep. Should be was the key word. Because of the strength of the currents and the soft sandy bottom, the bottom shoals. There are sandbars all over the place that are constantly moving. That's what makes this place Shipwreck Alley. And thus I made the nearly fatal mistake to cut inside the diamond shoals. Well, it's not much to see, but WildChild has arrived at dreaded Cape Hattaras. We're actually cutting across the point, real close to the shore, like within 2 miles. We're not going outside the buoy. Chart plotter says it's 30 feet deep. We've got the forward scan on. We'll find out just how deep it is. I mean, if it's shoaled a bit, we need 8. Oh, wait. The waters are calm where we are, but something doesn't look right on the horizon. So WildChild was slowly making her way around the point of Cape Hattaras, about 2 miles from shore in 30 feet of water. We were watching our depths carefully, and we had the forward scan on, looking underwater ahead for shallows. I've got the engine on, just in case. Oh man, I'm nervous. We're going across Cape Hattaras and we're cutting between diamond shoals and the point. We're still 2 miles offshore. But shoaling means, unpredictable sand dunes. We're in 20 feet of water. We're trying to make our way across with 2 miles left to go. It's around 20-25 feet. Conditions are calm, but every time it gets to 20 feet or less, we slow the engine down and slow the boat. We're at 19'7" now. We're halfway across. I'll be happier when we get back into the deeper water on the other side. Now 21 feet. It's nerve-wracking. Like Lexi's nervous. And bam! A few minutes after this had happened, the bottom climbed up. We were over top of a shoal. The waters around us are raging. All of a sudden, we've got 6-foot breaking waves washing around in every direction. There's a sandbar directly beneath us, and the depth goes from 20 feet to 10 feet in a matter of seconds. Fueled with adrenaline and in terror, I crank the wheel hard over. We pull the donut and pull 180 degrees reverse course and head back out the way we came. We turned around, it was a mistake. It started to get rough. We got down to 12 feet. We're taking the exact same route back out that we came in. Now we're against the current though and straight into the wind, so we're not making good progress, but at least we know we can get out in the same track safe. We got to 12 feet. That's dangerous. I'm not doing it. We saw water start to break around us. There's good reason you got to go the 10 miles out and around. See, with her tail between her legs, we're back to 29 feet of water. We were going to try and cut it to not get too far into the Gulf Stream, and we did the donut. I saw 12 feet. That was it. We're heading back out now. We have to go the 10 miles out and around Diamond Point. It was a mistake to try and cut inside, but at least no damage, like we fixed it. We just added 10 miles to our sailing, but better to do 10 miles in safe water. We were only 1.6 miles from finishing crossing the shoal. 1.6, and we would have been clear, would have saved us 10 miles, but nope. Screw that. It was a nearly fatal mistake that I corrected in the nick of time. We spent the rest of the afternoon going out around that mark the long way around Cape Hattaras and Diamond shoals in safe, deep water. I want to try and show you where we are. This is Cape Hattaras. That's Lookout Point, another 50 miles ahead. We're in with this. Clear the cursor. We've been sailing in this like group of sailboats. You know, I'm at the helm watching a movie. Predator. Good classic. Check this out. This is weird. We're off Cape Hattaras, and I mean, we're far, like you can't see land even with binoculars, but Cape Hattaras is 10-15 miles that way, and all of a sudden, ahead, there's a line of fishing boats, none of them on AIS, extending all the way out. We've got to cut through it. I don't know if that's the sweet spot for fishing, but we're under sail and we can't see dead in front of us very well. Let's hope we don't hit anybody. There's a clear line extending miles and miles out to sea, the exact spot where the warm and cold currents collide. It's fertile feeding ground for the bigger sport fish, and the fishermen line up for miles and miles on this exact spot. When I find the entire fleet of fishing boats running out like we are way offshore and they are in a line going way out. And that's why we always station somebody at the helm. Autopilot can't see that stuff. There's a little tiny boat in our way. I furled the Jenny a little bit so I could try and see under it. I've turned on the engine because the winds are really light and I got to get around the fleet here. So we're motor sailing. We got to get out past Hattaras and all this crap. Brown water and blue water. It's like, it's distinct. You can see it right there. Right there. And that's where they're all fishing. Weird. The first time we tried to go along there and just sort of cut in, failed, came back out, went around. We're sort of in a convoy now with the back group of boats. So we keep falling behind because everyone else doesn't turn their engine off. We're sailors, we pretty much just sail. So we're in with this group here. We're right off the point of Cape Hattaras. And this is why it's important to choose your weather window. Sailors are patient because we move about as fast as you can jog, but not those power boaters. There's another sailboat from the convoy. We just turned the engine off. We're doing like 11/6 right now. The engine doesn't help us go any faster, so might as well save the fuel. I can understand Michelle learning how to deep sea fish off Cape Hattaras. It's our first time. Conditions are good. Winds are calm, seas are calm.
Oh fuck. Oh shit.
Bend it. Michelle is excited to fish, but he's actually terrible at it. When he got a nibble, he aimed the rod towards the fish, which is the wrong thing to do. It took him about another 10 minutes to completely foul the line, and we had to stop fishing. But he was excited. We've been sailing towards the sun most of the day, so the solar panels have not collected a lot of energy. We've been sailing for about 36 hours, and I wanted to run the generator to boost the battery banks for the second night passage coming tonight. And at the end of the second day, the sun begins to set. We really got lucky finding a good weather window for 3 days, and the forecasts were accurate and the ocean is calm. When there's only 2 people on the boat to do the night watches, the first night's not so bad, but by the second night, you start to get tired. So hi guys, it's 7:47 at night. We're on our second night. We actually have to slow the boat down. We passed Cape Hattaras and we're only 34 miles from the point at Lookout Point, and then it's 20 miles to get in, which is the next safe harbor. After that is Jacksonville, North or South Carolina, but then that's so where we want to go is only 50 miles away, or we have to go 140 miles. And tomorrow there's supposed to be no wind, so we can't go to Jacksonville too far, but we're going to arrive at our destination in the middle of the night. I don't like arriving in strange harbors in the dark, so we actually no Jenny and double reefed the main to slow WildChild down to try to get her at 4 knots or less. In total darkness, we're going to round Cape Lookout and head into Morehead City, North Carolina. It is so dark on the boat, you really can't see anything. I'm nervous about Cape Lookout ahead. The sandy shoals there extend out twice as far as the shoals at Cape Hattaras. There's no way I want to risk these shoals in total darkness, so we're gonna pass miles and miles offshore. Well, we're night sailing and we're near Lookout Point, but of course that keeps us 20 miles offshore. We're trying to get around it now, going through the shallows. The wind was supposed to be really calm, but instead, let me get that zoomed in. Instead, we're seeing like 20 knots of wind from the side. We had to slow down because we didn't want to arrive in Beaufort, early in the morning, like in the dark. It's our second night. We're both tired. Lexi's not feeling good. My head's gone funny and I'm going to start passing out soon. It's not awful out here, but with 20 knots of wind from the beam and we're 20 miles offshore in shallow water, we're, taking 3-foot waves from the starboard beam. It's just throwing us around the cockpit. I don't really like doing night crossings. I mean, if everything's nice and calm, it's good, but when it's rough... Oh, hold on. Whoa. I am so tired. I don't want to do this anymore. Where's that pause button? How about we eject, and just go to a hotel for the night? I just want to sleep. all night long we're staring out into the darkness. The night was mostly a blur. We took turns on the helm and kept the boat safe. Eventually, when the sun came up, we were both so tired. The second night of passage is so much harder than the first. And the sunrise finds us beating into 15 knots of wind with 25 miles left to go. But that's a story for the next episode.